Hello, my dear friends. Welcome to another episode in these momentous times that we are living. Um, I wanted to do an episode about the situation in Romania, but even more about the situation internationally, the situation that's unfolding internationally these days with the first Trump term and with the subsequent shitfest coming from China, from the point of view of the fans of the Western led rules based international order, so to say. So, I'm actually not surprised by the development in China, the fact that they came up with a better AI than all this proprietary American one like that developed by OpenAI, and at a fraction of the cost, and they also made it free. I mean, there was nothing intrinsic about either about this domain, about AI, or about China that prohibited it from attaining par or even superiority with regards to the West. However, I did see a lot of cope in the beginning, a lot of hope, and then a lot of cope regarding the ascent of China in discussions with my, let's say, Western-oriented friends. So with people who are big fans of the United States and who cannot picture themselves in any other circumstance, in any other international circumstance, but a world order which is led by the United States. So these people were saying things. Of course, it's the same cliches that you read in the international press, the Western press, like, yeah, the Chinese will never catch up to us because we are free and we are creative and whatever, and they are not. And all of these things which had less to do with the political system in China, which is, as you can see, very creative, very innovative, and very capitalist. It had more to do with some racial preconceptions, or at least some racial hopes. These people were actually at the bottom of their hearts thinking that Chinese people are just inferior, or that the yellow race is inferior to the white race because even though they are good at copying, they are good at imitating, they are not good at creating things themselves. And of course, this was very logical, and this was very anti-historic and counterfactual. I mean, they had thousands of years in which they actually dominated culturally the human species. But of course, ignorance is strong here in the West, and a lot of people actually. It's not that they thought this; it's more that they hoped that this would happen. So they clung on to all sorts of hopes regarding China, regarding the supremacy of the West, either through technology, like they would never be able to replicate our technology, or subsequently through I don't know, with this AI thing. So the fact that they would not be innovative enough to develop better algorithms than us, and so on. And I've spoken to quite a few of these deluded people who um, I don't know. This is really something to be psychoanalyzed. So I think they had some frail masculinity problem that they could not picture themselves to be outdone by some short yellow Chinese person or something like this. It's, I think, deep down it's something like this. It's like um, this is where the root of the frustration came from. From some masculine anxiety, because I cannot picture any other reason why you would not think the Chinese people are perfectly able not just to be at your intellectual level, but even to outdo you. From my experience, I've had Chinese colleagues when I was studying for my economics degree in the Netherlands, in one of the best Dutch universities, the University of Groningen. It's like top 70, something like this, in the world, top 10 in Europe. And the Chinese colleagues that I had in Groningen, uh, of course, they were very smart and very hardworking, and they outdid most of us. But not only that, because it's also that I've heard such opinions from people who had experience with Chinese students in Europe or in the United States. These are not the best students. The best students are the ones that entered Tsinghua University or Jiaotong or, these universities in China. So the ones that you would find at a random European university, these are not the best of the best. They also admitted that my Chinese colleagues from the business programs, the economics and business faculty, so it was not even physics, they admitted that they came to study in the Netherlands because they were not good enough to enter in a Chinese university. So they applied for Chinese higher education. They failed the entrance exam, so they came to be the best in Europe. This is the model, and many people have a hard time understanding this. They let themselves be sold all of these delusions that the inherent supremacy of the West, the inherent supremacy of the Judeo-Christian civilization, which at the base has some sort of either Protestant delusion like predetermination, the fact that whoever is Protestant is predetermined by God to be successful, whatever, or some racist theory that the white race is the master race and everybody else is just dumb, or I don't know, some Judaic Talmudic nonsense that they are the chosens and the rest of the human species have to be their slaves. Um, it's all built on some completely illogical foundations, because anybody who's had experience with Chinese people knows very well that there is no intrinsic reason why you would think that you're better than them. On the contrary. So yeah, I don't know. I think it was just some cope. They just built it up, just like I don't know. If you want to read about the Chinese economy from Western sources, just Google it, and you will see that the Chinese economy is in a crisis. But not just now. Ever since, I don't know. Ever since China started to be more than just an emerging market, and it started to be a threat to the predominance and to the hegemony of the United States. Ever since then, just like they write that the Russian economy is in tatters, the Western financial press keeps on writing that the Chinese crisis is just around the corner. And you can do this simple exercise. Just look when that article was written, and then check out the growth rate in that year. When you Google stuff about the Chinese economy, whatever you'll find in the last 15 years, it's all about, yeah, but the Chinese economy is stagnating, the Chinese economy is in crisis, and it was growing by at least 5%. It was growing by 5 to 10%, which is like double, triple the American rate and like 10 times the European rate. So, but yeah, the West needed all this cope. The West needed to somehow perpetuate the delusion, to perpetuate the bubble, and the bubble is slowly bursting. It's bursting with the alliance system, the BRICS alliance system, the Shanghai Cooperation Organization, the de-dollarization of the world economy, and they clung on to several illusions like AI. Okay, the Chinese people are never gonna be able to do AI because they're just dumb, and we are smart, and so much cope, and I just feel vindicated because I've been speaking about these things for quite some time now, and I kept on getting these labels, as it happens here in the West. So because we cannot acknowledge the decline, we have to just label the people who give us the bad news, the bad real news, as a Putin propagandist, paid by the Chinese, Putin puppet, and so on. So yeah, it's hard to live in a decaying empire because if you see reality for what it is, you get accused of being with the enemy. So yeah, this is kind of the downside. It's gonna be interesting how Romania is gonna be playing this. So as you probably know, Romania has suspended its elections, its presidential elections, and is just postponing the moment when it will have to allow Kinja Su to come to power. He's the favorite of the people. He's the favorite of the opinion polls. There is nobody who can beat him, not even in the second iteration of the Romanian presidential elections, when there is I think, an equally poor lineup than last time. It's not like the system now came up with somebody more credible. No, they came up with similar idiotic stooges, and Călin Georgescu is still the unequivocal best choice. But these elections will happen in May, and until May, I think Romanians have a lot of time to examine the situation for what it is and to realize that the world is changing and that we can no longer rely on what we used to rely, for example, on Brussels. So to just have a Brussels puppet as president, because Brussels will mean nothing. The poles of power are Moscow, Beijing, Washington to some extent, in the sense that it will cannibalize its allies, as it is already doing, in order to maintain some sort of at least regional supremacy. It will continue to cannibalize the European Union, and Brussels will just mean nothing. It's just a center of servitude. Is where the pasha lives, who gathers the tribute to be sent to the Sultan in Washington. The the tax collector for the Ottoman Sultan. This is the Brussels headquarters now, the headquarters of both the European Union and of NATO. So yeah, Romanians have a choice between 10 more years of irrelevance with a lazy president who does nothing but just obey the dictates of Brussels, who will become more and more irrelevant, or somebody who will align himself to the new international world order, who is Călin Georgescu. He is pro-Trump. He's just like Viktor Orban, but Romanian. So pro-Trump, pro-Putin, pro-Xi, pro-multipolar world order. He wants to renegotiate everything from from the interest, from the standpoint of national interest. The only question is if the authorities will allow him to run again. So the first time they allowed him to run, then of course they vetted his candidacy, but they disqualified other sovereigntist candidates, so they only allowed two, him and the guy from AUR, the president of the biggest sovereigntist party. And Călin Georgescu won the elections, and the guy from AUR came in fourth. So still quite a good standing. Whereas the parties of the government came in third and sixth, I think, something like this. However, this time around they are thinking of not allowing Călin Georgescu to run. Why? Well, I mean, all the accusations of being Russia's agent have volatilized. There's nothing to them. No other evidence has been brought forth. The Venice Commission of the Council of Europe has issued yesterday a document severely criticizing the annulment of the Romanian presidential elections. It is not according to the democratic procedure and to the standards of the rule of law. But yeah, it depends. It depends on how the people running the Romanian system will align themselves. If they continue to align themselves with Brussels, just out of reflex, then yeah, probably they will not allow Călin Georgescu to run, or they will again invalidate the elections after he wins them. It's hard to say. They have these panic modes now regarding Călin Georgescu, probably understandably, because at the shift of the system, you don't know if you will be tolerated, you as an agent of the previous system, and an agent of a foreign power, because these people running the Romanian system are most of them agents of foreign powers, and the sovereigntist system threatens their not only their status in society, but also their freedom, because they might be put to jail for being traitors and spies and yeah, in the service of foreign powers, right? So yeah, I can understand their anxiety. But still, Romania needs to align itself with a new global world order, and it cannot afford the luxury to just step outside of history and just watch the spectacle of the world. It needs to get involved. It needs a president that will involve himself in this, that will start negotiating with the relevant actors. So this is what I wanted to say from the Romanian front. And now, as you can see, there's nice weather outside, so I'll be doing these updates more frequently. Stay tuned, and until next time, bye.